communication amongst team members within an eye care practice is very important because it contributes towards the successful running of that particular optometric practice. And so how team members communicate with one another is not just a by the way thing. A lot of challenges actually that are arising in the practice, it's as a result of people not communicating effectively and efficiently with one another. And so if there's a challenge with regards how staff members or employees within a practice relate with one another, it influences how they do sales together, how their service delivery runs, how they close deals together, how the operations within the practice carry on a day-to-day basis. And so team members need to be supportive of each other, stay current and honest with each other. That is so important. The optometric team needs to be able to count on each other in how they run the optometric practice. And so one of the easiest things that you need to be able to do in part of counting on one another, it's involving what we call accountability system. And that accountability system has got 5 key characteristics or components to it. The first one is character. Integrity needs to be worn by each team member at all times. And so one of the things that you hold each other accountable on is the issue on integrity, because integrity is not something that you can just sort of like ignore. It has to be something that individual members carry with them every single day. And it fits into the values that that particular optometric practice has. And so if any team member doesn't have a characteristic of integrity with them, it's going to compromise on the integrity of the overall practice. So very, very important that amongst yourselves as team members, or you yourself within a working environment, that you carry integrity as a character that is the most dominant of all characteristics that you could have, because it influences and contributes the most towards the environment in which you're working in. The second component is competence. Excellence should always be the only acceptable work ethic that you model in your environment. Nothing else, nothing more, nothing less. It's very, very important that your work speaks for itself. And that can only be the result when you've got a high work ethic. And always ask yourself that which I'm doing, is it the best that I can be able to do? And a lot of things when it comes to competence, you have to go out of your way and develop your skills pertaining to competency. The environment that you're working in will only train you to a certain level, will only provide you guidelines and ensure that you've got the necessary training to a certain level. However, no one is going to tell you, go and read a podcast. No one is going to equip you on what is the latest information pertaining to that which you are doing on a day-to-day basis within your working environment. And so it's important that you go out of your way to harness, develop, fine-tune your competency level within the working environment that you are in. Because that ultimately is what's going to set you apart. If you are just going to be doing that which is expected of you on a day-to-day basis, then you're actually not contributing anything beyond that which is expected of you. But people that are set apart, employees that are ending up becoming catalysts and leaders within the environments that they're working in, are those that go beyond what is expected of them. And so competence, it's something that is critical for you as an employee, and amongst team members, that's how you need to actually be holding each other accountable. It's on the basis of competence, and how are you constantly developing your competency skills within that which you are supposed to be doing. Because the more your competency skills increase within your working environment, the more you are able to contribute towards that working environment. The more it also contributes towards your personal and professional development. So you cannot compromise on saying that this working environment, I don't like it, and then you end up not going beyond what you are supposed to do in developing yourself. So don't let the responsibility of your professional development be on the shoulders of the company that you're working for. It's very, very important that you take ownership of your own career, your own life, your own personal and professional development. And so within the team environment or the working environment that you are in, make sure that what sets you apart as an employee is your competency levels. Because if it's up here, it's very difficult for people to criticize you on any other matters, because your work ethic will be a bigger voice and will have a bigger impact towards your contribution within that working environment. Next, it's commitment. Each team member, or you as yourself within the working environment, you need to understand that your commitment level towards an environment determines the overall success of that working environment. There's a saying that says that the bigger the difference in commitment between team members or people within a certain environment, the bigger the detriment it will be in that particular environment or to the business. And so if you are working in an environment that does not result in you increasing your commitment levels, that is not resulting in you wanting to do more, there's a problem in that. And so always check yourself in terms of, am I committed to this working environment? And part of that commitment will be your attitude, how do you go the extra mile? The things that you do over and above which is expected of you. Are you putting in the necessary time, the necessary hours? And are you upskilling yourself? And so it's very, very critical that you are in an environment that is stimulating you, that is causing you, or that is resulting in your commitment levels within that environment constantly increasing. Very, very important. Next, consistency. Team members need to be playing their individual roles. And so as an employee in the environment that you're working in, do you understand what the business does? Do you understand what your role is? What are your roles and responsibilities? Do you understand what can you do to go the extra mile that is beyond that which the environment is expecting? Here's the thing that I have noticed within optometric practices quite a lot. You've got two types of individuals. Individuals that say, this is what I get paid for, versus individuals that say, this is what I want to actually get paid for. I said the same thing, but different sentences technically. One, they just do the bare minimum. The other one is constantly developing themselves, showing up on time, doing things that other people are not willing to do, going further than what other people are willing to go, doing more than what other people are willing to do, asking more questions, constantly looking at ways in which they can improve the way they're doing things. They're inquisitive. They're transitioning from being mere employees to becoming catalysts. And so hold your team members accountable on what they do best. If you are particularly responsible for a particular section within the working environment, and your other team members are responsible for other areas that are just as important, hold each other accountable within the working environment. And let it be known amongst yourselves that, guys, this is what I bring to the table. Because think about it, in an optometry practice, there's only a handful of you, right? And so one of the things that helps with your communication is when you know that, wait a minute, this colleague of mine is strong in this area. This colleague of mine is strong in that area. This colleague of mine is not as strong in that particular area. And so you're holding each other accountable in your areas of strength, and you are pulling each other up in your areas of weaknesses. That's what you have to be consistent on every single time. And the last one is cohesion. The team being able to come together as one, working on the vision, working on the goals, working on the targets, the objectives that are set out by that particular practice. Now, what makes this process easier, and how does it actually come together, these 5 characteristics? It's very simple. You cannot communicate with people that you don't understand. You cannot work together with people that you don't understand. And so one of the things that we would encourage you, that as you are looking and listening to me right now, is within the working environment that you're in, take a sheet. If there's 5 of you, all 5 of you, take a sheet like this and divide it into different columns. Column 1 could be what makes you happy, or what makes you glad, what makes you glad. Column 2, what makes you mad. Column 3, what makes you come alive. Or another column, what makes you sad, right? So divide that column like that and literally complete each column with characteristics that speak directly to you as an individual. And then that working environment that you're in, share the information with one another. Have a group discussion to say, wow, this is actually what makes me come alive. This is what brings out the best out of me. These are the things that literally irritate me and just wind me up the wrong way. And discuss that amongst your team members openly. Have a fair discussion. And this should be something that you do as amongst employees. And once you have done that, it helps you understand that, wait a minute, Thabo here prefers people to communicate with him like this when he has done very well. When he has dropped the ball, he prefers us to communicate with him like this. And so, and another person, Michelle, prefers to be communicated like this when she's not feeling well, versus when she's happy and she's, you could see that she's full of energy on that particular day. This is what she prefers to be communicated on. And you prefer to be spoken with and communicated with in a particular manner. And so when you guys have an understanding in the working environment based on these characteristics that I've just alluded to, it makes how you're going to hold each other accountable much easier. Because you know that there are certain things that are actually strengths that come from Thabo. There are certain things that are serious weaknesses that come from Michelle. And there are certain things that you are sort of like in between, and you are able then to learn from one another. You are able then to pull each other up in certain areas. You are able then to say, okay guys, this is who we are as individuals, but this is what the business or the environment that we're working in is like. How do we then create a culture for ourselves that speaks directly into the culture of the organization that we are coming in? How can we learn about each other's cultures? How can we learn about each other's backgrounds in order to make the working environment friendly, worthwhile, something that we look forward to coming to? And you come together in that manner and you hold each other accountable on these 5 characteristics of the accountability system that I've just alluded to. It will make the environment that you are in much better. Who should initiate this? You, the person that is watching this video right now. That's why this video is here, to help you take charge of your working environment so that you are fully responsible of the trajectory in which your optometric career or your career as a professional is going to take. Because you want to make sure that you are in an environment that brings out the best out of you. You want to make sure that you are in an environment where you are contributing towards bringing out the best out of people. And so I urge you and encourage you that take this seriously in terms of how you communicate with your respective colleagues. How do you hold each other accountable? Because how you communicate internally will influence how you guys communicate with people that come to the business requiring your services and your products and the solutions that the business offers. So this is very, very important. I hope you've enjoyed this training session on internal communication and how it works within the organization that you are working for. That's it for today.